Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to language for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I'm your keeper, Michael, and we return to Masks of Nyarlathotep in our China chapter. As we'd like to do at the top of the show, we'd like to thank you, the listener, and especially you, the Patreon supporter. So if you'd like to check out what we offer on Patreon, you can at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, which I heartily recommend as more video content is on its way. Now, I'd like to begin introductions, if I could, to my right.
This is Tiffany, and I play Maeve O'Shea, and apparently we're doing 1v1 today.
Apparently we are. You have a date with a rather ostentatious spellcaster, I believe. We'll get to that. Promise. To Miss O'Shea's right.
This is Morgan. I play Lillian Lane, and I got to use a flamethrower last episode.
You totally did.
I did. That was so
Totally
fun.
did. It was more like an alien death ray too, which is kind of cool.
Whatever gets the job done.
Yeah. I'm glad that you feel that way. At the end of the table.
This is Jake. I'm playing Jack Doyle, and welcome to another edition of Jack Doyle's No Good, Very Bad Day. You know, it's interesting too. I got to say, just objectively, Jack, China has not been kind to you. No, I've had a rough time.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to continuing. To Jack's right.
This is Lonnie. I'm playing Robert Drummond, and I'm currently 0 for 2 in these sorts of things, but maybe we can get a hit on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I welcome it at any point in time. To Mr. Drummond's right.
Hi, this is Heather, and I am playing Edwina Fairchild, otherwise known as Stasi, and I'm really curious to see whether or not who lives, who dies, and who discovers a fate worse than death, because I think it's coming.
Something definitely is. And to Miss Fairchild's right.
Hi, this is James, and I'll be playing Dr. Sigmund Tartenbach. And I don't know about the rest of you, but this has been fun. It's so keen, like a walk in the park.
You're sans a jacket, if memory serves correctly, Doctor. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah, because something had to cover Miss Fairchild after her incident.
The unfortunateness.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Just making sure clerically we're in the proper formation. And last but most certainly not least.
This is Alex playing Sam Barwell, who may or may not be known in the future as the Rocket Man.
We're going to raise the curtain tonight back in the middle of a volcano, just as you'd expect all of our adventures to go. And we're going to key back in on one Sam, who has, has sort of been noticed by somebody out there in the distance, who's felt the subtle and somewhat not so subtle grip of mystical pawing at his bodily forces. We're going to pick back up into rounds with his action, but before we do, we just give him sort of the lay of the land, and then sort of a reset for you, the listener. He does see in his vision one Jack Doyle running at high speeds away from whatever room he was in. And he has also noticed a couple of these strange creatures which were going right and going left from whatever place they stood by the statue that slowly and somewhat inexorably continues to draw near. There's a massive chaos going on, Sam. And so I would ask you, what's your plan?
Well, there's a few things going on. I have concerns. I have needs. But my first question is, with the unsettling experience that I've just experienced, how far have I gotten with my, we'll say, reconfiguration of the rocket launch pad?
You probably, if you're trying to to do more of a, say, a destabilization to the larger structure here, it's going to take you a little bit more of a time investment. There are more of them to get to. A single pipe is not going to, dislodge or force this rocket into the lava or completely disrupt the flow pattern. You're going to probably need to get at least, I'd imagine, between 3 to 5 more before things really get, we'll just say, apocalyptic.
The other question is, considering the size of this thing, is there any way for me to get out of Ho Fang's line of sight, essentially? Is there any way for me to get away from him?
You could go around completely to the backside of the rocket, and if you were to sort of skirt your way around the back, you would put the rocket between you and him. It might be the most fortuitous thing you could do if you're trying to get away from being visually seeable, but it's only, you would know too, it's only going to last as long until Ho Fang can come up to one side, and then you're basically dodging him, which could totally be a viable plan. But he's going to have to be dealt with at some point. Hopefully one of your compatriots will pitch in at some juncture.
Well, considering how long all that might take, and it sounds like there's way too many potential fail conditions, luckily for me, though I am uncomfortable, I'm still feeling no pain. So I will stand up. How high up am I?
Off of the regular sort of floor that the volcano here has offered, the crust portion that the rest of the investigators on, you're probably an additional 2 to 3 meters at least.
Okay. And how far is Ho Fang from me?
At a quick look, at least 10 to 12 meters. I mean, he's got minions in front of him. He also seems to be wrenching at something along the side wall here. He hasn't completely exposed himself from this space. He can sort of see you right from here, right next to the door that he was sort of hiding behind. He seems to be pulling at something on the wall there.
So he hasn't come out from...
He has come out, but he's right next to the doorway space here, which seems to be these 2 gates where you heard moaning coming out of people moaning.
Oh, right. Okay. Then yes, then instead of standing up, I will just raise to a knee and call a motherless dog as I raise my rifle. Well, I pull the rifle from my side and I take aim and then I fire.
Okay, go for it.
That is a success, 38 under 74. If I wanted to make that hard, it'd cost me 2 luck, right? Or 1 luck?
Yeah, it would.
1
but
luck.
As your keeper, I'm going to tell you that there's no reason to spend the luck. You don't get anything from the hard success, and he can't dodge the firearms roll.
Oh, right.
He just sort of gets shot.
Okay.
But I would just, as a reminder to all of our players here, that is also true for everyone here. You can't dodge firearm rolls. You can drop prone and lose your action. That's different. But no dodging. And remember that impales work both ways.
Oh, I know.
For Sam's benefit, spending the luck to make it a hard doesn't do anything for you.
Okay. So I will roll damage then. So it's 1d8 plus 1d6 plus 3. So 13.
Okay. You shoot him. You can tell he takes the bullet as best he can, as anyone takes a bullet. He grips his stomach after the rifle round impacts, and he sort of falls back a little bit against the wall and then yanks hard down on this lever.
Okay.
And that is Sam's action.
Well, I can still maneuver, right?
You can functionally maneuver, but there's no skills or...
Sure. Then I will, after taking my shot and sending him reeling, I will take the opportunity while he is distracted by his sucking gut wound to get out of line of sight.
Okay. So you move back north, back towards the entranceway, and skirt your way around the rocket to put an enormous block between you and him. And so...
Yeah, and I reload.
Okay. So the moment we've all been waiting for, at least I have. Miss O'Shea on 65. You are in a well-designed and well-appointed workroom with Sir Aubrey Penhew, who is looking across his table at you after having dispensed with Jack out the door with a movement of his arm. and he looks at you sort of incredulously and says, "Are those my pants you're wearing?"
I will look at him and say, "They're not yours anymore." As I leap at him, knife out.
Okay. You come straight at him with a knife?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask you for cinematic sake, are you going to come over the working table at him?
Yes.
Okay, cool. You leap onto the working table and slash with...
Yes.
Somebody has to wear the pants in this relationship.
Well, she wears it for the rest of the investigators, that's for sure.
That is a 4 out of 55.
Okay. So you're going to start the combat off with an impale. All right.
Well, I was going to spend for an impale either way. I didn't care how much it cost.
I'm going to attempt to dodge because Sir Aubrey has no interest in being cut by that weapon. Nope. Not at that level of success. Okay. So what you'll do is you'll roll damage first.
That's 9 damage. I rolled a 1.
That's weak sauce.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Okay. And then POW?
Yeah. Contested power.
Come on, dice. It's 61 out of 83.
Yeah, he has you on the contested power roll. So the weapon doesn't bite and dig in and drain anything from him, but you slash him across his stomach up and sort of to the left shoulder as you're moving across the working table. And you notice something very, very soon after you cut him. And that is when you cut into his skin and cut into his shirt. After it's cut away, you can feel the resistance from whatever protective enchantment he has on himself. You don't draw a stitch of blood from his body.
Even though it's a blessed blade?
Yeah.
It's probably the same thing I have, so, I mean, I get it.
But it's likely he has a little less of it now. Okay, Miss Fairchild. 65. You have acquired one coat from Dr. Tottenbach. So you are clothed, which is fantastic. At least a little bit.
Somewhat.
You can tell, I'll give you a little visual narrative here. You can tell that there were some people here by Miss Lane sort of making the charge back the rest of you, but she's essentially incinerated them all with some sort of strange weapon that she was carrying. It's now been thrown because it, for whatever reason, she was done with it. And then memory serves correctly.
No, I think
Lonnie's got thrown and was exploded.
Lonnie, yeah.
Right.
You still have yours.
I still have mine.
Okay, yeah. So she still has hers on her back, and you see her sort of spraying the field down here and burning these bodies to a crisp. And you would see Sam, who has moved to this location here.
Yeah.
He's by the rocket.
How functional am I with that? I mean, the goo is still on me, isn't it?
Yeah, the doctor scraped the goo off.
Okay.
And then gave you his suit jacket so that way you had some sort of protection from the heat and the elements here. I would say that you're functional enough.
Functionally enough.
I'll say this, you've been in worse mental and physical situations in the past, so you're not by any means done.
I think at this point, the prudent thing to do is to move to the other side of the boxes, away from the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Now, last time I had rooted around in some of those boxes and had come up with another pack, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Yep.
I will, at this point, pull that pack out.
Okay.
See if I can put it on.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to take a minute to extricate from the box and then actually acquire it and put it on.
Take it out from the box. You get the backpack style straps out. You strap it and then click it into place. And
yeah. And then I will look at the doctor and go, "You may wish to move." As I basically...
Nope. Doc scoots back and gets out of the way. He is...
Do you have by chance a light, Doctor?
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
Could you be so kind as to light me up?
Yeah. See, having seen them used a couple of times, it's not that hard to now get the rhythm of that. The fact that, okay, whatever these things are, they need to be lit just like a candle or a torch or, well, perhaps a flamethrower, and they need to be put into use. So you're now armed and ready after this action to deal with come what may.
And just for clarification, the goo that fell on me from the wall, was it just one section of the wall? Was it just that one portion? Is there more on the wall? Is there any kind of...
Oh, yeah. So
what's going on with the wall?
So the walls, plural, here are coated with this stuff.
Like all the way down,
yes,
as far as I can see.
It's actually also what gives this place most of its light illumination most of its illumination comes from this fungus. It's only that you got close to the wall that it sort of sloughed off and tried to get personal with you. And
it got personal.
It did. It's true.
I think I'm going to be pulling it out of cracks and crevices for a while, but that's for another episode, ladies and gentlemen.
It absolutely is for another episode. So yeah, it is all over the place. If you were to think of, oh well, I'm going to burn this stuff off the wall, you might be here for a few days.
Okay,
it's that much. And so that means Jack on 60. Now that a round has passed, Jack, you come out of your crazed flight or fight. I'm going to place you there on the map, just a little farther along the way. You get sort of about parallel with next to Drummond. You can see him sort of hunkered down here, and you'd see Jack coming straight for you, Robert, and he has the look of sheer panic in his eyes, like he's seen something terrifying, and he gets right up alongside you and then stops. And now it's your action.
Right. Get yourself together, Doyle. Come on. All right, so I'll turn around and I'm going to start firing on those fishmen.
Okay, you fire on the fishmen.
How many of them are there?
There are 3.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to take a shot on each one of them. One shot on each one of them.
Okay, so you're going to change targets as well.
Yeah.
So normally you don't take penalties for multiple shots, but changing targets is a little different.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. So first die is standard, then penalty die for the next 2.
And that hits. None of them were any more than hard, but they all 3 hit.
Okay. So damage on each.
8, 11, and 8.
Okay. So the middle one here, you shoot center mass in the throat and it drops like a rock. And the other 2 seem to stay up, and you've definitely got their attention. So, Doctor on 55, you are back again, sort of against the boxes here. And the field is in front of you. You've just assisted Miss Fairchild with lighting up her cigarette, as we'll call it. And now the situation falls on your hands.
Have we fully sussed out what's in these boxes here?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
They're either these tanks, and it seems to be that they've exhausted those.
Mm-hmm.
There seem to be some foodstuffs in here, and it looks like there's some other, there's some spare parts in here.
Yeah, Doc is not exactly a combat monster here. He in fact is desperate to stay out of the shit, as it were. And so he's actually going to reserve and just hunker down. And if it comes to the end of the turn, then he will just hunker down defensively.
Okay, that's totally viable. Mm-hmm. I assume you're staying far enough away from the fungus on the wall after you've seen it now. You don't want to.
Oh, yes. You might take a moment to look at said fungus. Just biology is,
okay,
pure curiosity.
We'll say that you're protecting yourself, but also being a little investigative while you have the opportunity.
Well, I have the moment. And there seems to be plenty of light flashes. And
there does appear to be that. So these 2 scaly, sort of sickly looking amphibious men come toward you, Mr. Drummond and Mr. Doyle. And on their action, they're going to attempt to avail themselves of your flesh in the most wonderful way possible. You are allowed, of course, to either dodge or fight back, your choice. We'll start with Mr. Drummond first.
We'll dodge.
Okay.
58 over 40. I'm not going to do it.
No, that's not going to work. All right, Robert. Okay, so take 4 damage from me. Mr. Doyle?
37 under 89. So that'll be hard.
I have a 4, sir. So that will impale, which means you're going to take 8.
It doesn't going to matter.
Yeah?
I only have 1 left.
Oh, how much luck you got, buddy?
I got enough.
Okay. So this is the way this works. You watch as Mr. Doyle gets clawed in the chest, and it rakes all the way down, and he drops like a rock. You're going to choose then, Jack, to spend all of your luck to survive.
Yes.
Okay. You are effectively at 0 hit points, and you are, we'll say, in the rules in Pulp Cthulhu are thusly written, basically, which is you find a way to survive the scene. We'll just say that you collapse on the volcano floor for now. How that plays out in the coming rounds is something that we'll work out. But you watch his body, Mr. Drummond, you watch it fall flat. His 45 clatters to the ground, and it appears anyway that this creature is, in the next few moments, going to jump on top of him and likely try to eat his body. But that isn't happening just yet. So, speaking of Miss Lane, on the top of the round, armed with your alien ray or your flamethrower, whatever you'd like to call it, it is your action on 140.
Can I see Hofang where I am?
You wouldn't have seen, because he was on the other side of the rocket, you wouldn't have seen what Sam was shooting at, given the chaos. I'm going to say that you wouldn't have even seen where he was firing at.
Oh, okay.
You have seen this area here. There is some commotion happening here, but you have not seen Hofang just yet.
Did I see Jack go down on the other side of the rocket?
It is likely that you both heard and saw it happen, because seeing that is pretty close to you. I mean, that's less than, we'll say that's about 25 to 30 feet, give or take, between those two distances. So it would have been easy for you to see it happen. Plus, you're going to be aware of where your compatriots are, right?
And I'm assuming the pack on my back is now hot because I fired it extensively at the. So I need to toss that somewhere before I explode.
Is that a question?
Well,
you don't actually think I would answer you, do you?
We should.
No. You have no intimate knowledge of how long they last.
Okay, but I do feel that it's getting
You
rather
do feel
hot on me.
Yes.
Okay, and the guys in front of me are dispersed. So
You've burned them to ash.
Awesome. So I am going to take off the pack.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to toss it away from us, towards where the doors were. I know I'm not going to make it there. I'm going to try to go for the pool of goo that's.
Okay, so I'm gonna complicate your life by adding some details.
Okay.
Because as keeper, that's my job.
Mm-hmm.
If you take the pack off and you intentionally throw it to a specific place, that will be your action.
But if I just toss it anywhere?
You're just dropping it.
I don't want it to explode on me. But I don't know if it's going to explode.
Want in one hand, shit in the other, Miss
Yeah,
Lane.
that's true.
I'm just saying, I'm fine with you touch tap throwing it into that pool if that's what you want to do. You'll make a throw roll to basically do that. Yeah, nobody's throw is great.
Yeah, no, my throw sucks. I am going to just... The doctor and Stasi are still behind me, right? Far enough away?
It seems like that. It seems like Miss Fairchild is getting strapped into her own tank now.
Okay, I'm going to just drop it and run towards the other... Can I make some moves to go towards Jack?
Certainly. Your move is fairly extensive. I believe it's 9.
It is. It's an 8.
What's an 8?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. You can probably get easily over to them. And you can see Jack about to be eaten alive by a couple of these nasty fish people.
Do I still have any action left or no?
Well, you don't have any weapon out now.
So I'd have to pull my weapon out?
Or you have to punch one.
I mean... That could be fun.
It could be.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
That was not fun. It was an 85 out of 48.
Okay. She yells, "Get off my man."
I completely miss as I come down with a fist.
No, you hit it. It just doesn't seem to do anything to it.
It doesn't care. Okay.
It isn't paying attention. It has a meal right in front of it that it wants to eat. All right. So before Mr. Drummond goes, someone else does, and that is Sir Aubrey Penhew. He'll take a step back, and as he is wont to do, he will soliloquize and say, "Truly, Miss O'Shea, did you learn nothing from your father? Nothing?" And then he's going to make you make a contested power roll.
Okie dokie. It's 37 out of 83.
Ooh, let me check something here. This is actually really interesting. I don't believe you won a ton of contested power rolls, right, Miss O'Shea?
No.
Interesting.
Against normal idiots, yes. But,
so you have a hard success on that?
Yeah.
So you are going to win the contested power roll.
Okay.
And you're going to go, "Oh, what does that mean?"
Right.
Okay. Roll a d10 for me.
It was only a 2.
That's okay. So here's what you're going to do. After winning a contested power roll, you're going to increase your POW by 2.
Ooh, holy shit.
So you feel the force of his will try to literally lift and separate the lobes of your brain, and your head sort of stands firm and doesn't allow that to happen. And you get this realization that someone else tried to essentially rob you of your free will, and it didn't work. And it's very empowering.
Yeah, I was going to say, since I'm almost face to face, except for he took a step back, I'm going to lean in and just cackle.
That's his action. And so now Mr. Drummond on 80.
Well, I have a problem now. Because Lillian suddenly got in melee combat range of this other fishman who wants to eat Jack.
That's right.
So I'm just going to have to shoot the one that's trying to bite me.
Yeah. Oh, you're not going to take payback? I mean, it's been several seasons. Now's the time.
And 3 other personalities.
Look, I don't believe in reincarnation or any of that.
That's good.
54 over 45.
Okay. You shoot. You miss.
Yep.
It's unfortunate.
It is.
Sam.
Yes. Having reloaded, I will mutter to myself, "Our people are hurt. The earth is broken. Once more, I offer you the sacrifice of meat," and I will shoot him again.
So you're going to wheel around the corner and fire?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to give you what I believe is reasonable as far as narrative goes in the space between the rounds, the things in that space that have changed. You wheel around to aim and fire at him, and that space is now being flooded by the bodies of young people that are being let loose out of that space. And so it's not that you can't shoot, and not even that you can't potentially shoot Ho Fang, but you'll be at disadvantage to do so because there's active moving cover in front of him now.
Do they provide me with cover as well?
Oh, 100%.
Then, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna take the shot anyway. Screw it. There's no telling, but I mean, they can't survive if he stays alive anyway. So, yeah, I fire.
Okay.
And that's a 4 under 74. That would be an extreme success.
Okay, so you're gonna have to roll the disadvantage die now and see if it actually holds.
I think he really wants to die.
Yeah, nice.
That's a 9 under 74.
Okay.
So let's see, 6 plus 3 is 9 plus, what'd you say that number was?
17.
17. So 26.
Okay.
I offer the Baron the sacrifice of meat.
He definitely falls to the ground. You're going to lose him in the cover, obviously. The number of people coming out of this space are in the 10s to 20s at this point. So he now has total cover from any further ranged attacks. He may and or may not be dead. That is hard to ascertain. The statue at the far end that has continued to move closer begins to roar. And you see it sprout multiple arms.
So I think at that, once I see him fall into the crowd, I don't really give him a second thought. I shoulder the rifle and immediately begin getting back to the rocket.
Miss Fairchild, Maeve.
I'm going to cut him.
Okay.
Or at least attempt to. It's a 23 out of 55.
I'm going to dodge that. Roll damage.
That's 5.
Okay. You slash at him again. He's managing to get his hands on what looks like a rather elegant cane, but he can't seem to get it together in sort of a parrying motion before you make some sort of work of another part of his body. Yeah. Hisses in pain.
Is he bleeding yet?
Not yet. He says, "Damn you, you contemptible woman. Don't you know the glory you're going to ruin?"
I don't think I care.
Miss Fairchild.
So, looks like there's a bit of a party going on to my left.
Mm-hmm.
That looks a little bit busy, so let's scan to the right.
Yeah, so over here, well, there aren't icons on the screen for it, but over here, what you are seeing is a flood of young people that have been let out of this space here. There's probably 10 to maybe 20 of them. From your vantage point, they look, just in the light, they look maybe a little bit emaciated, a little bit worse for wear, and they're seemingly trying to run towards you. It's hard to get a gauge on whether or not they're aggressive or not. They're just it seems like they're fleeing. The big problem is here, this large statue, multi-armed statue now, which is gaining speed, is seemingly chasing them now out of the space. And you can tell too that there's clearly the space has been used for some sort of ritual before. That evidence is sort of all over the floor.
I will close distance and move forward.
Okay, tank on your back, ready to go.
Ready to go. Quick look to see, are these people actually getting away, or do I have a horde coming at me?
Yeah, so as you begin to close distance between the distance being closed between the two of the groups here, you and them, it's pretty clear that they're human, and it's pretty clear that they have no interest in any way, shape, or form in being combative. They're fleeing, they're panicked.
All right.
But there are too many of them for you to sort of get your arms or hands around. They're gonna rush you, and the only danger you have is they could bowl you over potentially.
Okay, so I will raise the barrel.
Yeah,
I suppose
the wand.
The wand of this lovely device of destruction, with my other hand, just that way. Go to the exit. Go to the exit.
Okay, I think this is a wonderful opportunity for you to persuade them to do so.
Yes, I think
they
so.
are a persuadable group.
That is a 55 under 85.
Excellent. So they take your persuasion to heart, and you sort of direct them out, pointing back to the stairway, the mouth of that stairway where it is, and they sort of form like a V around you and then flock like birds towards it. So this is a very heartening moment for you, Doctor, as it seems that Stasi's trying to get wounded people out of here.
I immediately Doc immediately throws in his aid and begins gesturing and hollering to the people running and helping file them out the safest.
Okay. Yep. The two of you are sort of working in concert in that regard. Normally, this would be Jack's action, but he's a little sleepy right now. Doctor, it isn't hard for your eyes to see that Jack has fallen to these creatures. And it looks like they're definitely going to be on top. And you can see, just as you're looking back and forth, directing people with one hand, you sort of scan back in the room and you see Jack there to your left with Lillian, sort of locked in mortal combat with one of these creatures. And underneath them is Jack's form sort of laid out on the volcano floor.
Can I holler and gesture and then make a move action to get behind these fish folks?
Yeah, I mean, you direct helping Stasi with what she was doing is more flavor text than anything.
Right.
You could easily
more whistling and pointing, and then I head over behind Mr. and Mrs. Grouper here, and we're in a volcano. There's large rocks and
all over the
shit
place
like that. And hey, they had prisoners. Are there any pickaxes or shovels down here?
You do see, as you sort of move down the space here, you do see a bucket.
Oh, fantastic. I'm going to pick that bucket up, and I'm going to just upside the head of one of them.
Okay.
As I come on up. One. Yes, finally. I actually made a combat roll.
Holy shit.
Seriously.
Mark it in the log.
31 under 70. So that is actually a hard success.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have you roll a d6
Fantastic.
for this bucket.
Bravo, Doctor.
That is a 5.
Oh, wow. So you sort of come up behind where Lillian is, locked in combat with this creature. And you can tell that she's definitely trying to punch, claw, kick, get this thing off of Jack. And you sort of skirt the little edge here by this pool, and you give that deep one a windmill like punch with this bucket. And you hear jawbone and like facial features crack. Because if anyone knows how to deal damage, it'd be somebody who knows the body. And it goes ass over tea kettle and back onto the volcano floor.
Doc levels his gaze at the other one and hefts his bucket. I have more than enough for two.
Okay, so that's everybody in this round now. Some other folks can go. Miss Fairchild, I'd like you to make me a spot hidden roll. It's likely you're the only one that can currently perceive it.
Oh, I think I would like to spend a little luck to make that a success. That's a 76 over 65.
Okay, so
I will spend 11 luck to make that a success.
Okay.
I have to do math. Okay.
Math is hard. So you see here, just beyond the pool where these malnourished people came, after the stampede of flesh passes around you, you see there in a bit of the shadow, with just a little bit of this fungus that's strewn about the walls, you see a form there lying against the wall, struggling to get to its feet. And as you dial your sight in from here, that form, that man's face, is someone you've seen before. And he might be bleeding, and he might be bloodied badly, but he's still alive. So I'll just leave that there for you for a moment. Miss Lane, on the top of the room.
Okay. Well, one thing I see the doctor next to me.
Well, no, you see his bucket.
But I don't see him.
No, you do.
Okay.
Clearly. He's there.
With fish scales sticking to it.
But, yeah, actually the bottom of the bucket is sort of bloodied, and there's some scale work on it now that's sort of been stuck to it.
Kind of give my nod of approval. Doctor, did you bring my rifle?
He just holds up the bucket.
He nods and bucket. It's not a language for him.
He just holds up the bucket. This is all I got.
Where's my... It's probably with Stasi. She better have my rifle.
Yeah, I think she was using it last, right?
She still have it since she's got the flamethrower now?
I would assume so.
I'm going to roll first aid for Jack.
Okay.
Did the doctor bring his bag with him?
He brought a bucket with him. That's what you know.
For fuck's sake, doctor.
You can make a first aid roll
okay.
without the doctor's bag nearby.
I get a 67 out of 65. I will spend the 2 luck to make that a success.
Oh, you're not going to push it?
I'll just mention this for sort of the understanding of the player and the audience around. First aid is not normally a like mid-combat cleric maneuver. First aid normally takes 10 minutes.
Okay.
Right? What I'm going to do for you, Miss Lane, is I'm going to spend a hand of fate for you and allow the action to take place in a more rapid sense.
Okay.
You'll be busy not only this round, but next round, and then the effects may and or may not land on your compatriot as it happens.
Okay.
All right. Miss O'Shea, you've become fairly meddlesome, it seems. And so Sir Aubrey is going to take a few steps back from you. He is going to fumble out the cane sword that he has in a desperate attempt to butch up. And he's going to say, now, I went to the finest schools in London, and I will simply not have this, some reckless American lizard in my space. Yes, lizard, I said it. It's written all over your face. He invokes the name of his chosen deity. He speaks the name Nyarlathotep in the room, and when he does, it comes out as an uttering, shaking curse of electrical energy. And he's going to zap you. Because that's what he does. It does cost him magic points, so there's that. For 7 damage. 2 bolts leave his mouth.
Okay.
And that's his action. We've never seen somebody utter lightning, but, here we are. Now, Mr. Drummond, it is your action on 80.
Try this again.
You should try the bucket.
Well, I don't have the bucket. I only have gun.
Have gun will travel?
But that's a 25 out of 45.
Ooh, I like that. So there's no way to dodge gunfire, so please go ahead and roll damage.
Yay. I'm damaging. 7.
Oh, yeah, well struck, sir. So with that little piece of gunplay there, you have cleared the last of these nasty little fish people off the map. All right, Sam.
Hi. I would like to break rocket, please.
I think that is a fantastic idea. You could totally break rocket.
I see that everyone has kind of coalesced around our fallen Jack. There's not a whole lot I can do down there. As between the bucket and the gun, all justice has been dispensed. So I will turn my attention once again to this dastardly machine.
It is dastardly, but there is something that you can appreciate about, well, the machinery that's been put in here. It's a lot of work's been done, and a lot of time and energy has gone into this. So
I would like to dismantle their machinations.
That is a mechanical repair roll.
Yes.
For mechanically disrepairing it.
That is a hard success, 19 out of 63.
Fantastic. You have 2 of 5 done. Alrighty. So that is Sam's action.
Hurry up down there. This thing's going to come down.
Miss O'Shea on 65.
Okay. I don't have any choice but to try and attack him again.
Okay.
That is a 20 out of 55. So what do I have to spend to make it an extreme?
So you would have to spend 55. You'd have to spend down to 11. Yeah. Yeah, you should spend 9 points.
Okay, I'm going to do that.
Okay, well, you go ahead and do that. So you have an extreme, and I'm going to roll parry because I now can parry, or I'm going to roll fight back because I have a weapon in hand. That's fucking crazy. Look at that, James. No, don't look at that.
Okay.
So I rolled a 13. I don't have the ability to spend luck, so you're going to win this test, even though by dice it's really close. It's just you got him by a couple points. So it's 8 plus roll damage plus a power roll.
Oh, thank God. That's 15 damage.
Okay.
Finally rolled something decent. And that's 69 out of 85.
Nice.
Okay, so successful power roll. So you are going to you step forward, sort of using that fast strike ability that you've got with that blade, and you get under his guard. And when the sword cane tries to parry the heavier sort of this sort of bronzed blade that you've managed to reconstruct through the blood of your enemies, when it can't, the sword cane is ineffectual at actually blocking the entirety of the strike, and so you use it as a guide. You flatten the blade against the sword cane and run the blade up to the point where the weight of your dagger is against the right side of his collarbone, and you rip back down. And you get about halfway back down when you feel a sudden surge out of the blade, and you feel your elbow go straight, and it digs back into his body, and he lets forth a horrifying scream. It's audible outside the chamber. Something horrifying is happening inside that room that the rest of the investigators are not seeing. For you, Miss O'Shea, you are filled with an overabundance of energy. So you split the amount. You get 8 hit points back immediately, and you get 8 MP back immediately.
Okay.
We're pretty sure that that's not Maeve screaming, right?
I mean...
Well, you've heard me scream recently, so you would be able to tell if it's me or not.
All right, Miss Fairchild, it is your action.
Oh, goodness. Following up from that. No pressure or anything. Are the hordes still flowing past me?
They've passed you now.
Okay, they are done. Okay.
You are all alone, almost all alone, except for that creature that's getting fairly close now.
Yep. But I see the person off to, you said to my right? Okay.
And he is standing back up, sort of clutching against this wall coated with just a minor bit of that fungus. And you can tell he's been shot multiple times, and he's trying to stand back up.
I'll head over, keeping my eye primarily on the thing, the creature, the darkness in front of me. I will make my way over to this person who I recognize.
Yeah, he's dressed in a beautiful raiment, beautiful clothing. At least it was at one point. The finest silks, a wonderful wide collar that extends out to his shoulder blades. It has beautiful stitching in it that's covered in blood now. He's dust-ridden, and he makes eye contact with you.
Not sure who is the bigger monster here. You don't seem like you're going to be long for this. Moving my eyes between the two.
You're going to have to take an action because you're going to run out of room, time, space.
Should I put you out of your misery, or do I throw you to that, or do I keep you around for fun? Does he answer at all?
He smirks.
Well, your decision.
You're going to hold the rest of your action?
I'm going to hold for a moment.
Okay. Then on 55, Doctor, there's no one else to hit with your bucket. There's someone in that room just not far from you, ahead of you, that is screaming. There is this massive statue that has animated and is now moving closer and closer to this central space.
Well, am I the only one left in here, or
no?
Who else is here?
No. So to your immediate right is Mr. Drummond. To your immediate left is Jack and Lillian. You're all sort of mostly collected. You just don't know. You're not really sure what Sam's doing. Something he's wrenching on these pipes that are central to the rocket. You have no idea what he's doing, but he's doing something.
I'm certain he has a plan.
You'd have lost sight of Stasi at this point.
Then Doc is going to follow the sound of screaming that he knows that in the room that Maeve went into. And go after Maeve, because he's most likely concerned about her now that he knows that Lillian is with Jack.
You get to this door, these white doors, and you can hear a scuffle going on in there.
And he's bringing Charlie the bucket.
Oh, you named the bucket?
Yeah, it's Charlie Bucket.
Okay, that's fair. All right, very good. So on his action, now that he can take an action, Miss Fairchild, he is going to reach down just into the sand. And as he does so, he'll reach down into the sand and dirt of the volcano floor as he stands back up to his feet, and he offers his hand to you. And when he offers his hand to you, it becomes a cobra, and it lashes out at you. Fantastic. Make a sanity roll.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch his arm turn into a literal cobra.
No.
What do you got there?
That is a 91 over 48.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, that's...
yeah, that is... There's
okay.
not... Yeah.
That's not an extreme, but I rolled good enough to hit you. So you get bit, but first you're going to take the sand loss. Mr. Fairchild, lose 6 points of sanity. Make me an intelligence roll immediately.
Not going to happen. So, no, that is a 95 over 70.
That's okay, because that's the one roll in this game you want to fail.
Oh, good. So yes. Yay.
So when you lose 5 or more points of Call of Cthulhu, when you lose 5 or more points of sanity, you have to test your intelligence whether or not your character can rationalize what they've seen or whether they just see it and believe it as it happens. If you succeed on the intelligence roll, your brain completely perceives what's happened and embeds it into its new reality. Your brain has basically protected itself. And so you don't go into a bout of madness, which would be terrible at this point.
Yeah.
But you've been bit. And so now I'm going to need you to make an extreme constitution roll.
So no dodge. Dang it. Okay. Not a chance. That is a 94 over 55 for even a basic. So
okay.
I think your dice is broken.
I think my dice do not like me today.
Yeah, that's a serious series of rolls there you've just made. Okay, so you're going to take a slight bit of damage from the cobra, which is 3 points of hit point damage. Okay, so you get 3 points of damage from the bite itself. I'm going to roll a d10 for the poison damage.
Okay.
Here's the killer. The poison damage can do a maximum of up to 1/5 the caster's POW, which for this character is 25. It'll keep doing a d10 damage until it does 25 damage. So you take 6 now.
Okay.
And I'll see you next round at some point. Okay, so with that settled, that is his action at the end of the round. At the start of the new round, Mr. Doyle, I'm going to have you make a constitution roll, sir.
Oh, hey. That is 52 under 55.
Ooh, fantastic. I'm going to give you 4 hit points.
Hey!
You wake up with Lillian on top of you, trying to bind your wounds. This is not at all pleasurable. It's in fact a shitload of pain. You come up gasping for air.
Oh my God. Jack, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Goodness, thought you were a goner.
Yeah, me too.
That is your action this round as well, Miss Lane. And so, Jack, you'll be at your initiative on 60 should you choose to make an action when we get to that portion of this round. Okay. So on 80, Aubrey is going to remove himself from the blade. He coughs up a mouthful of blood and what you think might be green fluid. It just expels, like he vomits it out on the right here on the floor in front of you. And then he throws the sword cane away. It tatters, sort of makes this strange harmonic sound. And he presses his hands together and makes a gesture in the air. And he says, to the servant, I compel you to serve. And we're going to make another opposed POW roll.
Okay. That's a 32 out of 85. However, I will spend down to an extreme.
Okay. So you match successes.
Okay.
As he has an extreme as well. What is your POW, Miss O'Shea?
85.
He is going to hit you with shriveling. He is going to invest 15 points of MP into shriveling and essentially try to kill you. If you hit with shriveling, you take 15 points of damage.
Okay. I'm still up.
You get blasted with terrifying energy that eats away at your very form. Really, the only pieces of you that survive that sort of blast of energy are your scales. So your post-Avengers shawarma scene levels of fucked up at this point. But you're alive. And that may be the keyest part of this. Doctor, you hear that from the room that you're advancing on. You hear someone say something, and then there is this audible sound of 1,000 angry souls in the bottom of a Coke can that sort of rattle around inside this room.
Doc picks up his pace.
Mr. Drummond, on 80.
No one around me?
Nope. No combatants seemingly left other than the enormous statue that seems to be making its way sort of slowly, now less slowly, but inexorably towards the middle portion of this location.
It's heading toward the rocket. It's heading towards us. It's heading on the other side of the rocket.
It's heading on the other side, right? It looks to be heading towards a pool that's nearby. So there seems to be some sort of water source over there. You can see the glow and the shimmer off the water. It seems to be heading towards there as if it's, it's got its 4 arms raised, and it seems to be gesturing back and forth.
Everybody out. I'll go get the doc.
He's ahead of you there at these white double doors. He seems to be getting ready to bang on them or beat them with a bucket. You have no idea what he's doing.
The doors are shut?
They are.
Do I perceive any way to open them from outside?
Just
I'm running up.
Visually looking at them? No. I mean, you could, collide into them and try to break the door.
I mean, it's a giant door, right?
Yeah, you don't see any door handles. That's the big giveaway for you. I would say this. They don't look like they're made of, they're not vault doors by any means.
The best way out is through.
That's what they say.
So what am I rolling here? If I'm rolling,
I think a strength roll is reasonable.
56 out of 65.
Okay. You get up to full speed. Doctor, a member of the Harvard football team passes you at a clip.
Oh, good.
And the doors come crashing open again. Miss O'Shea, Mr. Drummond barrels through the door.
I don't have time to take a look. I'm going to get my ass whooped soon.
That's your action, Mr. Drummond. You barrel into the room. You see a wild scene in front of you. Miss O'Shea has been seemingly burnt. At least portions of her skin and clothing are burned up, except the fabulous white pants she's wearing. They're completely untarnished. The occupant across from her looks like he's been through the ringer too. He has multiple gashes and slash wounds on his body, and he's bleeding all over the place. He has green substances coming out of his mouth, just fluid. He might be missing a few teeth. He looks like he's a real wreck, but clearly they're locked in some sort of mortal combat. But that's the scene you see.
Yep.
Sam, would you like to continue your mechanical aptitudes?
Yeah, back when I was, when I was working in the factory, we used to hum compa music to kind of keep ourselves focused. So I will keep a jazz tune in my head, a little bit of a merengue de salon while I work.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's such a hard success. 21 under 63.
Okay. A couple more to go. You can see that the platform here is getting a little unstable, and some of this fuel that's coming down from the volcano or coming up from the volcano area is starting to seep all over the place. And the smell of burning metal is beginning to waft into the air.
Smells like sabotage.
Very good. Maeve on 65.
I'm going to try and end his life with the blade. It's a 69 out of 55, so I'm going to spend down to at least a success, yeah.
I will attempt to dodge, and I do not. So roll damage.
That is 5.
Okay. You cut his throat out, and he spins in the air just for a moment before collapsing onto the ground in a wave of convulsions.
I'll probably let out a sigh and slowly climb down off the table. Well, I'll probably finally turn around.
You see Drummond there, sort of getting back to his feet and preparing to assist with the situation. Robert, you might be 2 seconds too late here, it seems. Seems Miss O'Shea is comfortable with the blade as well.
She's probably better at it than I am, to be completely honest with you.
So we'll leave you there. Miss Fairchild, I'd like you to do something for me.
Yes.
I'd like you to take a D10's worth of poison damage, as it's your action. Oh, only 2. You can feel it in your body now. You can feel something on your collarbone is burning.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know why, but you think you have an idea.
So I will look up at him, a smirk on my face. I will close distance. Not quite point blank. I'll see you in hell. And I will pull the trigger.
Okay. So it's a firearms roll. You're at advantage for close range. So you get to re-roll your 10s die.
No.
Okay.
So I will spend the 7 luck and I will make that a success.
Okay. So roll, I think it's a D8. I assume that you are pulling the trigger all the way down.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So roll 2D10.
So 15.
In the glow of this space, you watch Ho-Fang burn, and it comes away in layers. The clothes first ignite. The top layers of the skin become papery and warm, and then as his eyeballs melt out of his skull and his hair is matchstick red for just the briefest of moments, that extra churn and extra power comes out of the tube on your back, and it blasts his flesh completely off.
I'll just sit here and wish I had marshmallows and a stick.
I think for now, that's as good a time as any to end this episode. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Masks of Nyarlathotep. I'm certain the exit will be as wonderful as the entry. And we'll see you next week.